Look, there are so many guys that need to take a major step this offseason, but the list starts with Jared Smith.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I'm Zach Blackerby, joined by Kyle Rush, also known as the Charlie 5 over at the barn, auburn.com. He hosts the Top Button podcast. We will talk about some hoops and the sadness that comes along with that. Maybe things will change tonight. Maybe. You've got a few guys that you think need to take a major step forward this spring, as do I, when you talk about the importance of some of these guys taking the next step. There's a lot of names. We've narrowed it down to 4. We each have 2. And interestingly enough, they're all on defense. Maybe more on that in a second. But Jared Smith, it's no secret that there are plenty of questions when it comes to pass rush and the edge room, Kyle. And Jared Smith, you can tell that they were being very selective and specific with how they wanted to address this. They weren't going for, the marquee pass rushers in the portal. You have to assume it's because they believe that Jared Smith can take that next step forward, as you see a lot of elite guys tend to do between their freshman year to their sophomore year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the second most important position on the team. I mean, quarterback's probably 1, and then having an elite pass rusher makes everybody better. And there is no doubt that's the guy they have anointed of being the next big thing, the next big pass rusher at Auburn. So you need him to, fill those shoes. You need him to live up to that hype, or else I don't really know where it's going to come from outside of manufacturing it from the linebackers, which they did some last year and had some success. But, man, just having that, being able to rush 4 and having that guy that everybody has to know where he is. You basically call your offensive everything based off of where that person's lined up. It changes everything. It makes the secondary better, makes everybody better. There is without a doubt Jared Smith. He needs to be that guy. He's got to step up. He's got to be that guy. Not that he hasn't stepped up with what opportunities he's been given. Maybe live up is the right word instead of step up.
Yeah, I mean, just stay the course and take that next step as far as, what the development needs to be. Auburn updated the roster last week. They have Jared Smith listed at 6'6", 260. It's like, okay, yeah, checks the boxes there. Long frame, good weight. We saw the athleticism and the ability to, get to the backfield, create and generate penetration. We saw him handle that a ton last year. What does that next step forward look like? I mean, regardless, I think he's going to be fine, right? I think the floor for Jared Smith is he's fine, which is good for Auburn. The question is, can he be one of those guys that you have to demand 2 guys block him, or you leave a tight end in just for a second to chip him before he runs the route? Or do you motion the running back or line the running back up on that side to, help the tackle and chip him? Because right now, I don't see that guy being on this team unless it's Jared Smith.
I think that's a very fair point. And I think the bigger question is, can he do it while wearing number 41? Will that hold him back?
Man, him not changing his number, one of the biggest upsets.
Huge upset.
In spring football
I would
history.
have lost everything if that was a prop bet. I would have lost everything that I owned.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. He may make it a thing, though. And if that's the case,
if he makes 41 cool,
build a statue.
Build a statue. And you can retire the jersey because no one else gets that number anyway.
That's even better.
Yeah,
it won't cost you a single recruit.
Like, yeah, Jared Smith's 41's retired. It's like, no, just nobody's asked for that number. I don't know.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so funny. Oh,
But
gosh.
everybody else in the edge room, like I think Deshaun Womack, I think he's a guy. Nate Johnson, we'll see. Not particularly high on, but pulling for. And then JJ Faulk is interesting. And he what did he bulk up to? 6'3", 244. Like, all right. I like that.
That's about
Is he gonna
Keyron
be that
Crawford
guy to
size.
take that step with him? I don't know. I don't know.
And then Jaquez Wilkes too. He's
Listed as an edge, not a linebacker.
edge,
Interesting.
and he's 6'4", 245. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's unbelievable. Like, that's just crazy.
And again, like that's what Keyron Crawford measured in as at the NFL Combine, and that's how good he was. Now, size doesn't always equal results, but just showing you from a measurable standpoint, they're close.
Man, even like just looking at Wilkes, like that guy is 26. That guy's not a true freshman.
He looks like a third-year NFL player.
To me.
Yeah, he looks like a third-year NFL guy.
Physically, I mean, his face, like he just looked like an older guy, which Auburn may need him. Auburn may rely on him. Can he play the same role that Jared Smith played last year? Edge rusher as a 29, still not great. Still not a great number, by the way.
Hey, that was my high school number, so back off. So that
is yeah, okay.
I was not an edge rusher though.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a devastating.
29 and 41, just converging at the quarterback. What a moment that would be.
Hey, Derek Hall was 29, wasn't he?
Was he?
Good. I think he was. Look that up. Derek Hall, Auburn number.
He was. I'm wrong. 29 is
Bang.
great. I'm so wrong on that.
Elite pass rushing
so wrong
number.
on that. Let's rewind. And Wilkes coming and wearing number 29, I think that's going to set him up for success.
I mean, you had Derek Hall, former Auburn player, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl that wore 29. It seems like a natural fit. It's just kind of like hand it down to the next great Auburn pass rusher, 29.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if we beat people in the comments quick enough. Probably not. That's okay. We deserve that. That's fine.
Totally.
All right. There's 2 defensive linemen, not edge guys, but 2 interior defensive linemen that made our list that we're discussing today. And I think they both need to take a massive step kind of for different reasons, even though it might be the same position. That's next right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. What is sports? We're traded like markets. Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long or use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Kyle Rush, thebarnauburn.com, The Barn Auburn on YouTube. I'll let you lead this off. Who else needs to take a massive step this spring for the Auburn Tigers?
I don't know if this falls along the lines of taking a massive step, but how about
cheated a little bit with this, but it's still applicable.
To me, I think it's applicable though. You has to live up to the hype, and that's Cody Sigler. I think he's vital, and because is whatever we want to say about Malik Blockton from a production standpoint, he was very disruptive. He's a very good player, created a lot of pressure, took up a lot of attention to free up linebackers to make plays. I think he's going to be, tough to replace. Cody Sigler, you got to be at least a wash. You know what I mean? This guy needs to be at least level. I think he may have a chance to be just a little bit, maybe a little bit better. But I think you got to be at least a wash. And I think there's a lot of pressure on that particular position. Maybe the addition of, Buddy Mathis helps that. But I think Cody's the guy, that you paid up to get, and you need him to be, You need him to be the dude there in that particular position. So I think he's not necessarily a step forward, but he's got to live up to the hype.
Yeah. And there has been hype around him for sure, at least on this show. We've been very high on him. For those unaware, Cody Sigler, interior defensive lineman, transferred from Arkansas State. Let me ask you this before I get to mine, even though you just mentioned him. I'm a little surprised at how you worded that. That's why I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
If you had to pick a guy to be on the roster right now this year, if you had the opportunity to trade Cody Sigler for Malik Blockton, would you do it? You're hesitating. I'm shocked you're even hesitating.
Well, no. Well, right now, I would say I would. I would say that I would trade him back for Malik Blockton because of what we've seen, the product we've seen on the field. And it has nothing to do with potential. It has nothing to do with ceiling. It's just what you're getting.
What you've seen. Yeah.
And I think that's why I think I would at this point in time. But ask me again a couple of weeks in, and who knows if he's he had 5 sacks last year, albeit against lower level of competition. I think he's got all the potential in the world to be a good one there. I just think I'd go with Malik at this point in time.
Yeah, I would too. But you're right though. I mean, it should be his job to make sure that it's as close to a wash or a step in the right direction.
Yes.
That should be Cody Sigler's job for sure. Mine is Buddy Mathis, who we assume will be Sigler's backup. I think if I had to put a depth chart there right now, that's probably how I would predict it, which means he'll play, right? All of these interior defensive linemen that rotate, they all play under Vontrell King-Williams, under DJ Durkin. They're going to play as many of the guys that are worthy of it. And tell me if this is fair, but I'm just expecting more of a step from Buddy Mathis than I am from Malik Autry. And I don't really know why I feel that. Is it because he's new? Is it because it's like the new shiny thing? Or is it, I don't know. Am I off on that?
The shiny thing may have something to do with it.
There's no way it doesn't have some sort of factor. Sure.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to see, is Buddy Mathis going to be the best number 10 on the team? Because there's 3 of them.
He'll be the best number 10 on defense.
Well, yeah, there's the only one. But there's 3 number 10s, which is wild to me. I know that's completely beside the point. No, I'm with you.
We did a full segment on that yesterday.
It's crazy. I think
sorry, Kyle, but it's fascinating that it's a guy who's 1 play away with Tia wearing 10, and then Duke Smith, the guy that we're all kind of expecting to have a shot in the rotation.
And they literally can't complete a pass with each other.
It's weird.
It is weird.
One of them has to change it. Has to.
Well, I mean, it just depends, I guess, on how everything shakes out. If Tia ever gets to play versus Duke at the same token. Look, I'm with you on Buddy Mathis. I as far as the Malik Autry things goes, I don't know if it's so much that seeing other schools pursue Mathis, Tennessee was really hard after him, and he would have been the guy there. You steal him away. I think it's the newness of it. But they did invest a lot in keeping Autry too, so they're both pretty important.
They are both important, for sure. For sure. All right, so I've said my 2. You've said your 1. Who is your other player that we're highlighting today as far as, okay, we need to see a big step here?
Yeah, AnQuan Fegans is my – and I probably should have led with that one because I think he's really important because you saw Champs coming back and he's listed as safety. There were Champs – unfortunately had a bad run of injuries. He seems to get injured quite often. And you need Fegans to be pushing him anyway. And to me, the ceiling with his athletic ability, lurking back there is that deep center field safety, to me is just through the roof. His ceiling is through the roof. How about that? Is that a bar? I don't know. Has anybody ever said that before?
Ceiling through the roof. I feel like that's been said before. I'm not positive.
It's just that we're talking about 2 different structures, and you're pushing the ceiling through the roof. Whatever. I digress.
No, I get it. I get it for sure.
I digress. I just think the versatility that he brings is big, and you saw glimpses of it last year, but still, I was kind of shocked at how little he actually did play last year. I expected more as a true freshman. So as far we're talking about a step,
snaps went to Winters. It seemed like,
yeah, he needs to be the one to take a step, because it seems like Winters has sort of claimed his spot, on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Auburn posted that graphic probably late last week, PFF saying he was like the best. I don't remember all the qualifiers, freshmen, safeties, and run defense or something like that.
That's what it was.
Yeah, which I'm cool with.
I think it was actually the best. I think it was the best grade in the SEC or something like that. I don't think it was, because it was like
best
a 92.
player in the world. I'll take any of it, regardless. So like, I do think giving Winters those props. I mean, just mentally, I have linked Fegans and Winters together in my brain. Like those, like that is a tandem that we hope will go through Auburn together, then be drafted, and we'll see what their careers are in the NFL. Like just mentally, I have linked those two guys as the tandem in the backfield.
Totally. Everybody wants to see those two guys on the field at the same time. You want to see that 1-2 punch from those guys. They were your focal points of retention in the offseason, and I think everybody wants to see those guys on the field at the same time, because, man, those two guys out there, you feel like a play is going to be made. Return game too.
Yeah,
that could get to the house.
Fegans takes that massive step forward, and we think Winters does what he does. Like, what do you think Champ Anthony's role is if those two things happen?
Man, first off the bench, slide him down into, he's played nickel at times. It would be great to have him close to the line of scrimmage in a role like that. The more you talk about, and more you talk out this defensive backroom, particularly at like nickel to safety, there's a lot of really cool options. Because
we haven't talked about Caleb Harris or Sylvester Smith yet.
Yeah, we haven't even got there.
Or Luttrell from Arizona.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about him.
Yeah, he exists. He's on the roster.
He does. He had a really good freshman year too.
Yeah, so I mean, just loaded in interior D line or defensive back, which made me think maybe they do scoot Champ back out, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So, because I do think there are questions at corner. I think they'll be fine at corner. Want to be very clear, but I do think there are questions there. So, no questions at safety other than who's playing.
Who's going to be the guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. All right. So yeah, my two guys highlighting today that we need to see a big step for: Jared Smith, Buddy Mathis, and then you've got
Cody Sigler and Fegans.
There we go.
Fegans.
There we go. Who else needs to take a big step forward? Let us know in the comments down below, or check us out on social media.
I got a question real quick. Question real quick before we move on. Why do you think we picked all defensive guys?
Probably a big picture conversation we could have with that, for sure. Well,
my mind went straight to defense, and I don't really know why. I guess I just feel so confident with Byron Brown on that side of the ball, and
also
Golesh.
Think we know what the defense looks like, what it needs to look like, because we've seen this system.
That's a good point. That's it.
In place. We can watch all the USF tape we want, or 2021 Tennessee tape, but it's like we don't really know what he wants this offense to look like as a head coach in the SEC now. So that might be part of it too.
I think you nailed it. I think we've seen what success looks like on that defense, and we know what it takes or what it looks like. And so we see the pain points or potential pain points, and you're like, those spots have to excel for this defense to work like we've seen it work in the past. I mean,
they're replacing folks, right? Like, can Jared Smith replace Kieron Crawford? Can Sigler replace Blockton? Or Buddy Mathis, can he replace Blockton? Like, if we were to pick an offensive guy, like, who are they replacing? Like, what role are they trying? Like, we could do Kale Ellis,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not picking, Eccles to, take he needs to at tight end. but we haven't really seen like productive, tight end play in a hot minute outside of Rivaldo, but he really wasn't a tight end when we used him productively. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Solving the world's problems on a Tuesday. Speaking of problems, Auburn basketball plays tonight. They need to win. They need to take down a very bad LSU team. Can they do it? That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Kyle, when you're hiring people, do you want it to take forever?
Ideally, no.
Ideally, no. Do you want to find just a decent candidate or the right fit for your job?
I'd like to find the right fit.
The right fit.
In a perfect world.
What if I told you that Indeed is that perfect world? Right fit. It's not a pain in the butt. They make it super, super easy. They streamline it. They match the things that you need to the applicant's strength and say, hey, you should just interview these people. Don't look at the rest of the stack. We filtered it for you. Here, interview these people. I think that's great. I think that's a great
concept. I love it.
Listeners of this show can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast, Indeed.com/podcast. And you can support the show by saying you heard it on Locked On Auburn. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. As we sit down and have this conversation, there is no line for Auburn hosting LSU, but Auburn is, they just put it up seconds ago. Auburn, an 8.5-point favorite against LSU. There is no way in the world I would bet on Auburn to beat a team by 8.5 right now. No way. Which makes me think maybe we should feel good about it because they always seem to do this.
Yeah. They've been terrible against the spread over the last 10 games anyway.
Yeah, right. Wow, 8.5-point favorite against LSU. So, got a feel we'll have thoughts on that. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. All right, final few minutes on this edition of Locked On Auburn. Stephen Pearl and this team, they desperately need a win. Joe Lunardi just moved them from last 4 in to first 4 out. So on the bubble, but the wrong side of the bubble. I can't imagine a win against LSU really moves that too much. Like you need to win these final 2, and then we'll see what happens in the SEC tournament. But if you lose against LSU, I mean, it's pretty much over.
I think you'd have to win the SEC tournament. That's the only road to getting into the tournament. If you win these last 2, you have a puncher's chance, I guess, to get in, and you could end with a quad 1 opportunity, which would be great. But man, it's just been it's crazy to look at where Auburn was before this last month started. Like I would have never guessed we'd be having the conversation that we're having right now. It almost seemed like cruise control. Like we were picking off which wins somewhere around 500, maybe a couple games plus, and some terrible losses. I'm talking about
brutal,
as bad as it gets. I heard you and Brad talking about it, and I think you mentioned this was one of the worst against LSU. Ole Miss was one of the worst Auburn losses.
I think so.
In the last 5 years, and I think I couldn't agree more with everything that was on the line. And it's like you just didn't care. It didn't fire them up. And so like what do we expect that all of a sudden that's going to happen now when your back's even further against the wall and it's a 9:00 game, which stinks. I'm curious to see what the crowd's like tonight.
Yeah, baseball's at 6. So do you have people that get there a little late coming over from the baseball game? Do you have people that would normally go to basketball, but they're like, I'm just going to go to baseball tonight, and that be it? Like,
or to bed.
Yeah, or to bed. Yeah, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know. Poor Daryl's getting a hotel room tonight.
Makes sense. Gosh, you're not going to get out till midnight, I guess, especially if you stay for any of the post games.
Yeah, do a post game show too. Yeah, I mean, we'll be live tonight after the basketball game, but craziness. I said in the post game show that I wouldn't pick this team again unless they showed me something different. I'm not picking them tonight. I can't do it. I'm not
I
picking
wouldn't even
LSU
pick
either.
them.
I just don't think Auburn is capable of winning a basketball game right now.
Yeah, I don't know that you'd pick them straight up, much less laying the points. I mean,
8.5,
ESPN has
crazy.
them at 78.5% as far as matchup predictor goes. But I mean,
It was similar against Ole Miss, though.
those things in Auburn are not jiving right now whatsoever, and that's even a bigger storyline that Auburn's not really either together. So who's going to be? I think the biggest storyline is, will anybody be suspended for a quarter or for a half or anything?
Yeah, did
like
everybody
that?
show up on time to practice this week? Goodness
That'd be cool.
gracious.
That'd be cool. I
feel like
can't
it's a pretty
imagine.
low
I can't
bar.
imagine.
Just show up on time.
Yeah, I can't imagine like fighting for my tournament life and just like having that little drive to just be on time. That's crazy to me. I hope there's a better, like a storyline behind that. Like, I don't know what it could be, but I hope it's something a little bit deeper than just.
Well, if there was a storyline, but like if he was late for a reason, surely they would have excused
it. Yeah.
Like if he's like, "Hey, my car broke down, coach. I'm so sorry. I'll be there as soon as I can." And he was 20 minutes late. Like, doesn't sound like that's what happened.
No, I agree. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Once again, yeah, we'll be live. We'll be live after the games. Super late tonight for the folks who want to hang out with us. Kyle, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Absolutely. Go to thebarnauburn.com, sign up today. The Barn Auburn on YouTube with all the different content pieces we're dropping every single day, or the Barn Podcast Network, anywhere you get a podcast.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. If you're tuned in on audio, please subscribe, leave us a review. Helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.